Hello, everyone. Somebody asked me what the 2.5 trillion debt ceiling increase means for inflation. Okay, so just some quick math. 2.5 trillion out of the total, I think, 32 trillion debt that we have. That's about an 8% increase. Okay, so basically, you can expect an 8% inflation increase between now and 2024 or the next, or basically when this debt ceiling gets hit again, which should be within the next year and a half, 2 years, whenever. So you can expect about an 8% inflation increase. Now, people will say that, well, you know what, that, I mean, it's 2.5 trillion, of an increase in the amount of money that the government can spend. But I'm putting it against the only against 32 trillion, which is only against, let's say, the total debt, which is basically a representation of all the money printing that the government has done to date. So people say, well, what about all the rest of the money that's out there in circulation? Because remember, people and businesses are also able to create money. The way we create money is we put up assets. Okay, so we take a mortgage on a house, a loan on a business. You go to, you purchase a car, you put up basically the asset gets put up as collateral. Okay, so for individuals and businesses, we have to put up assets in order to create money. Okay, the government doesn't. The government can just put up. Basically, they put up debt. The idea behind that is that they're putting up their ability to tax and raise money in the future. But anyway, the point here is that what happens when you factor in all the other money that's out there that's being created. And my answer to that is that all that stuff is kind of working separately on its own. All that money that's being created and paid back through through normal banking means, through normal lending and borrowing in the private sector. That's all acting kind of independently. Okay, so I think that my approach is to just isolate what the government's doing. The money that they are creating through the borrowing that they're doing, not the borrowing, but just they call it borrowing, but it's just straight money printing. They're basically going to increase that now by about 8%, and they're just going to dump that into the economy over the next whatever year, 2 years. So that's a total of 8%. So they're adding something into this really worldwide economy that normally wouldn't be there, okay, if they weren't doing that, okay. So that's why I tend to just focus on that aspect, because everything else is really working normally, okay. The government side of this is the only unnormal part, because normally the way money printing is, or money creation is supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen in the private sector. People put up real assets, right? Whether you put up a house that you mortgage, or whether you own a gold mine, you go into your mine, you pull out gold, and then you give that to the bank so the bank can create money based on the gold. Doesn't make a difference. It's basically supposed to be an asset-based monetary system, whether it's real estate or gold, precious metals, whatever. It's supposed to be asset-based. So the government is cheating by not putting up real assets. So the rest of it is working normal. It's just the government side of this is what's unnormal. And we can kind of isolate that and say, hey, they're increasing the amount of money creation by 2.5 trillion, which is about 8% out of the total 32 trillion that they have created. So we can expect about an 8% increase in inflation. And just to put things into perspective, I mean, the number trillion is an absurdly large number. We shouldn't be talking about trillion unless we're talking about molecules or stars or grains of sand on the Earth, okay? Because I think there's somewhere between 7 and 12 trillion grains of sand on the Earth. So for the government to come along and say that they're gonna, You know, they got $32 trillion in debt. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, they can't possibly have, they can't have that kind of debt because that type of money doesn't exist. Okay, so I like to remind people that a million seconds is 7 days, a billion seconds is 31 years, and a trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Okay, that's an insanely large number. Okay, so based on the debt ceiling increase, 2.5 trillion over the total 32 trillion, you can expect an 8% inflation increase. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments below, and I'll talk to you all soon.